Well, hey there, everybody. Hope you're all well, and welcome to another Monday for the live show. Tomorrow, we do our comparison. We're going to have the RAV4 hybrid versus the Venza hybrid, the battle of the Toyota hybrids. So that video is going to drop tomorrow. I just shot this car today. That's a 2007 911 turbo manual transmission. That's going to be on the Friday Survivor Series. We shot the Sonata last week, Andrea and I. But what's coming up this week on Saturday is going to be the Bronco Sport. Not the big Bronco, the Bronco Sport, the one that's built on the same platform as the Ford Escape. Excuse me. What else is going on? Oh, don't forget to sign up to Car Cost Canada. Use the promo code MotorMouth, the name of the channel. Become an expert member and have a look at the incentives, rebates, discounts, hidden interest rates, all the stuff that isn't really public. But once you type in your information, the car you're searching for, Car Cost Canada serves it all to you. And when you use the promo code MotorMouth, you become an expert member. It unlocks even more searches for you. All right, so today I was out shooting this 911. I had to stop and get my phone out and did a Zoom call with the gang from Hyundai Canada, including Don Romano, the president of and the CEO of Hyundai Canada, talking about the cars that they have coming this year. And there's a lot coming from Hyundai. So the Elantra N line. There's also the Tucson is coming, a facelifted Santa Fe. There's going to be the Ioniq 5. And by the way, the Ioniq 5 is their first full electric not first full electric SUV, but a new SUV. It's going to be dropping the information on it overnight tonight and into tomorrow. So keep watching all your favorite automotive pages tomorrow. That's when all the information on the Ioniq 5 will be dropping. All right. Tomorrow we have I have a virtual dinner with Larry Hutchinson and the gang at Toyota Canada. They're going to be talking about what they have coming up this year. So I'll have more information for you as we go through the weeks. It's good to catch up with these car companies. They give you insight into what's coming, what they're looking forward to talking about. And so that was interesting today with Hyundai. Tomorrow it's Toyota. What else is going on? So Bronco Sport is going to be this week. Then the Sonata N line, the Defender, the new Outlander, and also the Eclipse Cross. First of all, we have to get to some pictures. This is from Alex in Israel. Snow in Israel. And then the next day, there's his car, by the way, his Ford Focus. And then the beach. So, yeah, it's not just Texas. It's not just Canada. Israel with snow. Crazy, right? Okay, we got lots of questions coming in. Feel free, if you want to get your question read for sure, then you can do the super chat. So when you type in below, make a small donation to the channel and get your questions in. Oh, somebody asked for a wristwatch check each time. So today I'm wearing, in honor of all the snow, a Tudor snowflake from the mid-70s. From West Coast, hey Zach, wondering if you had a chance to check out the new Mitsubishi Outlander. I think they will sell a lot. It looks great. So it's interesting. I've been following this Outlander for quite a few years now. I was invited. It was a great opportunity to go to Japan with Mitsubishi. Was it 3 years ago? 4 years ago? Anyway, we got to go to the Technology and Development Center for Mitsubishi, which was really cool. And they showed us at that time a prototype of what the new Outlander could look like. It was a concept vehicle. And then 2 years ago, or just over a year ago, the last Geneva Motor Show, I was with Mitsubishi, and we got to see the concept vehicle of the Outlander, and now the new one is actually here, and it's hitting our shores. I'm hoping that I'm going to get a chance to be one of the first people in the country, because they land from Japan here in Vancouver, to go and get some pictures and images of it. So stay tuned for that. I think they did a really good job with the styling, and having seen the very first concept, then the concept Outlander, and now the production model, it looks really, really good. And this is their most well-known nameplate is Outlander. So it makes a lot of sense for them. Barry's here. Hey, Zach, from snowy Montreal. My wife is considering a 2020 Escape hybrid all-wheel drive. Do you know of any issues with the hybrid system and in general with the 2020 Escape? I'm a big fan of the Escape, and I'm going to reference the Bronco Sport here as well, because Andrea and I just gave the Bronco Sport back yesterday. The video will be dropping this Saturday, and I've driven the regular Escape, I've driven the Escape Hybrid, and now I've driven the Bronco that's all based on the same platform. And I'm very impressed with that vehicle. Actually, I thought about this after last week's live show. Somebody on last week's live show said, could you mention a vehicle that is overlooked that you think is underrated? And after the show, I thought of the Ford Escape. The Ford Escape, in my opinion, Ford did an excellent job with that utility. So specifics to the hybrid system for you, I would suggest you go and type into your computer Ford Escape Hybrid web forum, and you'll find a message board in a forum with people who actually own that particular car. From what I understand, it's good, and I wouldn't have a problem recommending it at all. I think they did a very, very good job with it. And go back and watch the comparison Andrea and I did with the RAV4 Hybrid and the Ford Escape Hybrid earlier in the year. Okay. Velocity. Hey, Zach, there seems to be more camaraderie among American automotive YouTubers than among Canadian ones. For fans, would you consider doing a discussion with fellow car YouTubers? I don't think there's more camaraderie in the United States. I think a big part of the camaraderie issue we might have here in Canada is just pure geography. I mean, you think about just the density, the number of, say, YouTubers that are just in California, right? Just in LA. So you have the Straight Pipes guys, Yuri and Jacob, who are friends, who are in Toronto. I'm here in Vancouver. So, of course, I do stuff, have done stuff in the past with Brian Chow from Everyday Reviews here. And then you have the Throttle House guys. They're also in Ontario, a long way from me. So I don't think there's any lack of camaraderie. I think it's more a geography thing. By the way, the Habs are quickly caving down to the Canucks. I don't think they could go that low. But it's quite interesting. Jack's going to be here shortly. We'll get his sports update in a second. But just how good the Leafs are. I grew up in Toronto, so I should be happy that the Leafs are doing well. But it kind of hurts to say because they've just sucked for so many years. But you know what? They can still blow it. They can still blow it. Oh, come in, Jack. Come in. We're just talking about sports. Have a seat. What have you got there?
Found a little bit. But...
Ooh, Cronenberg.
Yep.
Guess where Cronenberg's from, Jack? Don't look.
Oh, I know.
Cronenberg.
Belgian, German, or Austrian? Switzerland.
No, French.
Oh, I don't know.
You would never think Cronenberg is French, would
No.
you? All right, so we all want to know. Look at this shirt, by the way. Let's show that thing off.
Yeah.
That has got to be the ugliest shirt I've ever seen, Jack.
No, it's pretty nice.
Steve Nash, he's a beauty, but he did not take a good picture back in '96.
He was 18.
All right, so the Leafs.
How
far are they going to go?
Conference finals.
And they won't make the cup.
No, because the only reason why they're going to get to the conference finals is because they have to play Canadian teams only, and then they'll lose to whoever else is left. Probably like Boston.
Wouldn't it be funny if they won the whole thing?
Don't think that's going to happen.
No?
No.
Can the Canucks pull anything out of this season?
Well, after last night. Might blow a 2-0 lead, score with a minute left, 20 seconds into overtime.
Done.
Done
and dusted. Okay, so what did you learn today?
About?
What did you learn in this session?
What do you mean?
Cronenberg, where's it from?
Oh, France. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Jack.
And it also foams pretty easily, clearly.
Yeah, that's a good head on that beer. He's a good one. He's a good one, Jack. There you go. So this is the Survivor Sip. Subscriber Sip. I don't remember buying that. So it must be from the back of the fridge. That's cold. Oh, that's good. All right. Benjamin is here. Hey, Zach, just traded in my 5-month-old CX-30 for a 2020 WRX Limited. At 53, I finally bought my dream car. Tried the CUV thing, but it wasn't for me. Well, good for you. Did you get the automatic or did you get the manual? I'd love to know. I'd love to know. Please don't forget to add that in, Ben. I'd love to hear. Queen's Calf Corgi is here. I want to sell my 17 RAV4 Hybrid LE. MSRP was 34, and many dealers are asking 28 to 30 here in Alberta. So I can buy an IS500 F Sport. So that was announced this morning. It's really quite interesting. This is so weird. I was watching a podcast thing where Don Romano from Hyundai was on, Stephen Beatty from Toyota were on, with my colleague David Booth. This was on the driving.ca website and channel, talking about electrification and all that kind of stuff. So I'm watching this podcast thing, and then I stop my computer, I close my laptop, or I click on my email, and what pops up? The IS, what is it called again? The IS500 F Sport. So the V8 powered IS F Sport. And I'm thinking to myself, so you're preaching on one hand, we should all be driving hybrids and getting plug-ins and the future is electric. Meanwhile, today you drop a V8 powered rear-wheel drive, small sports sedan. Now I applaud that, but you're kind of talking up both sides of your mouth. By the way, I would just keep your RAV4 because it's great resale on those. What do you think of the new Lexus IS500? The V8 is making a comeback. Any idea how much it will cost in Canada? I'll tell you what I'll do is I will do this right now. I am going to open my email, and I'm going to see. I didn't read the email that clearly. I don't think they have a price on it. No, I don't think there's a price on it yet. Let me have a look. No price. So there you go. That's what they have. It has been announced. It is coming, but no price. Hey, Zach, do you know if Subaru and Mazda will eventually adopt Toyota's D4S engine technology on all their cars, like the D4S Boxster engine on the BRZ and GT86? It wouldn't be a stretch to think they would go that route. So if you're not aware, so the Boxster engine for the BRZ and the FRS, now the Toyota 86, was developed by Subaru, but the injection system was developed by Toyota. So it would make perfect sense, since the Toyota owns a lot of Subaru, that technology would eventually filter into the rest of the system. So if you're not aware, D4S means that the engine can run on 2 cycles, Atkinson cycle, and then the normal cycle, and it can use port injection and direct injection. And so having regular port injection is much better for cleaning the backside of the valves, which is where you can get a lot of carbon buildup. So this helps alleviate that. Also, it runs on port injection under idle, makes a smoother idle, and then direct injection when you need more power. It also saves fuel. So let's hope that actually happens. Hey, Zach, what happened to your A7? Haven't been on the channel in a long time. Well, Mr. Dude, it's been a long time, dude. Yeah, I sold the A7 3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago in March. So it has been a while. We had that car for 4 years. So Core Cars here in Vancouver, and I do, like say I got the Porsche from Core Cars today. They're the ones that actually sold my A7. And the guy who bought it actually emailed me about a year ago, says it's the best car he's ever owned, and absolutely fabulous. So I'm glad to see it went to a good home, and I'm glad to see that he enjoys it, and I'm glad to see it's still running. And it's a diesel, and I wish I could have afforded to keep that and the car we have, because that would have been the perfect combo. Audi A7 sedan diesel and the Porsche Cayenne diesel. Hey, Zach, your son likes the Leafs. My favorite sports highlight was at a Leafs home game, their first game of the year, a fan holding up a sign saying, "Maybe next year." I love the dedicated Leafs fans. That's pretty funny. Now, if you're not aware, and you don't live in Vancouver, when the Toronto Maple Leafs are in town, and we would be able to go, of course, before COVID, there would be an equal number of Leafs fans, if not more, than there would be Canucks fans. Same thing for the Habs. When the Canadiens come to town, you see, so many Habs sweaters that it's like, what town are you in? But you got to remember, there's a lot of transplants. Like me, for example, originally grew up in Toronto. I quickly adopted the Canucks as my home team because I grew up with the Leafs sucking. Hey Zach, is it okay to switch just the tires, use same rims when going from all season to winter? Porsche rims are just too insanely pricey. There is not an issue at all with doing that. The only issue you have is you have to make sure you can find a tire installer that is going to be very careful with the wheels, because every time you take you break the bead between the rubber and the alloy, there's a chance you can scratch it. And so please find a very reputable shop that's used to doing high-end wheels and tires. So just a cosmetic thing. You don't want your wheels to get wrecked. And there's no issue with that at all. I totally understand it. But it gets a bit pricey. So yeah, you can certainly switch the tires on and off, but it costs quite a bit more money. You can just keep an eye out for used Porsche wheels. I mean, they're not too expensive. You should be able to buy a set of Porsche wheels, just the wheels themselves, anywhere from $500 to $1,000. Maybe not the exact ones you have, but ones that'll fit your vehicle, no problem. I've got an extra set of Cayenne wheels. I've got to put them online and sell them because I don't need them anymore. I've got 3 sets of Cayenne wheels. Jim Carson's here. Wow, I finally made it on time. Nice to see you here. What do you think about the Marketplace show about Hyundai Kia engines catching on fire? Well, this has been a known thing. What this story really was on Marketplace is a CBC consumer a consumer show, basically. They basically consumer affairs. They investigate consumer problems, and they investigated the slow action of Hyundai and Kia in terms of recalls for engine failures and also fires in their vehicles. So here's what I'll say about it. I think it's good that a major outlet like the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation is doing a spotlight on it, because nothing will get action faster than having a major media outlet. And here's one of the great things is that people say, oh, traditional media is dead. It's all moving online. Listen, when the CBC knocks on your door and asks questions and says, why isn't this happening? Or CTV or whomever it is, a major news outlet across the country. In the States, it would be like NBC or CBS knocking on the door saying, why isn't this getting fixed? Things change quickly. So bad PR is bad PR, especially in the car business. The one thing you don't want as a car company is people saying, oh, they catch on fire. Ask Ford how that went with the Pinto. Or your car rolls over. Ask Ford how that went with the Explorer, right? So, yeah, I think you'll start to see things get addressed quickly when the media really catches on to these things. Queen's Cast, Corgi back again. The new Nissan Qashqai looks really good. Wonder if we'll get the hybrid version. Let's hope so. Also, there's a new HR-V floating around, hybrid version that's rumored to be coming. Now, a lot of these things, people ask me questions all the time about, when are we getting them? Like, until it's actually announced, it's all just pure speculation. I think we have another super chat. F-Sport V8 in the new Tundra. That'd be nice. Discuss. Be ashamed to do away with the V8 altogether. Well, the problem that Toyota has with the Tundra, because it's such a good truck, is the engine. It just is bad on gas. And you have other companies that are doing better things, like Ford General Motors and FCA or Stellantis are doing now with their technology. Things like cylinder management or cylinder deactivation, smaller turbocharged engines like the EcoBoost, the 3.5 liter in the F-150, and so on. So they really need to. I mean, that engine is just an absolute masterpiece. But in the pickup truck, it's not fuel efficient, right? So I would wish that they would come out with a new V8 engine that incorporated some of these technologies and help reduce the amount of fuel they use. Because the only upside to owning a Toyota, though, that uses a lot of gas is it has great resale value. So the extra money you put into it, you're going to get a lot of that back when you go to sell it. But they're different engines, not the same engine. Hey, Zach, what are your thoughts on the new Hyundai Santa Fe vis-a-vis the competition? Also, would you and Andrea be driving one soon? Hello from Toronto. Okay, so listen, I asked this question today with Hyundai. I asked what's going on with the Elantra hybrid, what's going on with the Elantra GT hatchback, what's going on with the Santa Fe and the Tucson. So let's unbox those. The Elantra hatchback is not coming back, but they are going to have an N line, and they're even going to have a higher horsepower, a pure N Elantra. That is coming. The Tucson is going to be coming here in the summer. The Santa Fe is here now, but is more of a facelift. So, well, it's not really just a facelift. They redid the front of the vehicle, but what they've told me is underneath the platform is heavily modified with new engines, so you can get the 2.5 liter or the 2.5 liter turbocharged. So it is scheduled to be coming. The PR guy from Hyundai said to me today they're in the shop. They're going through them now, and they'll be shipped out. And as soon as they arrive in the next month, probably we'll get our hands on one, and we will do a review of it. A lot of times it's just a waiting game. Hey Zach, what do you think of the new CCIV Lucid merger and stock dropping 30% after hours? With the current price and 0 cars sold, the company value of $64 billion, more drop or should go up soon. I am long. I don't really know much about this merger. I know a little bit about Lucid. I would suggest that the whole EV stock bubble is just insane, right? So you have crazy valuations for Tesla. So you're telling me about Lucid's up as well. NIO in the Chinese company. General Motors stock price jumped after they announced that they were going full electric by 2035 and so on. So back to this conversation talked about with Don Romano, who's the president and CEO of Hyundai Canada. And his point is there is going to be a flood of EVs coming into the marketplace. And he basically backed up what I've been saying. If you watch this live show, and you can go and watch them over the last couple of years, I have said that field of dreams analogy, if you build it, they will come. It might not happen. It might be they will build it and not enough people come. In every technology, there's going to be winners and losers, right? So if I say hybrid, you think Toyota. Toyota is synonymous with hybrid technology. If I say electric, you think Tesla, right? And every situation, there are going to be winners and there are going to be losers. So there's going to be a whole raft of electric vehicles coming on the market in the next, 2 to 5 years. And my prediction is there's going to be a whole lot of them sitting there and nobody's buying them. I mean, there's going to be a market for electric vehicles. There's no question. But I think there's going to be more electric vehicles than there is demand, right? Because we're served so well by the modern cars that you can buy today that are internal combustions or hybrids. So back to your point about Lucid and back to the tech industry and the prices of these stocks is based on this massive adoption of electric cars over the next 5 to 10 years that might not happen. Like there's going to be a good chunk of people that will go and buy an electric car. But is it going to be enough to lap up all of the supply that's coming online? I don't know. Humans are creatures of habit. And you might be sitting at the kitchen table saying, honey, our next car, we're going to buy an electric car. And then you get down to it and you start looking at the numbers and you think, for $500 a month, we can get this little hatchback or we can get a new SUV. A lot of times the SUV is going to win. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. So I have no idea the crazy valuations of electric car company stocks. It's going to be interesting to watch. How did you get into automotive journalism? Well, this is a long story. How did I get into this? Well, I was a broadcaster for many years. I started on a radio, and then I went into television, local radio and local TV. But on the side, I always had a car thing going, and I started almost 30 years ago. It'll be next year in 1992 is when I started reviewing cars. And I started doing it on the radio. I did 5 minutes a week on a radio special. Can you believe that? Reviewing cars on the radio. And then I switched. I did a cable show, local cable outlet show, kind of like Wayne's World. I got cable access. I did that for 8 years. And then I went to the big TV station here in British Columbia, and I did the same thing. I got 5 minutes a week, and I did a car review on TV once a week. And then a local company asked me to be a host of a TV show, and I went and did that for 17 years. I left that show a year ago. I'm now one of the hosts of Motoring TV on TSN. I started this YouTube channel in 2011. I've written for newspapers and online outlets. I've written books. So I've been doing it a long time. And it's funny because when I used to do local weather here on the TV, people used to say, what does the local weatherman know about, cars? And I used to always write back and I said, I've been doing cars longer than I've been doing radio and TV, daily broadcasting. So I've been doing it a long time. So yeah, it's going to be 30 years next year. Can you believe I started when I was 10? Isn't that crazy? They should be fine. Okay, I don't know. They think people are talking to each other. How come there's no R version of the Volkswagen Jetta? They do it for the Golf. I think an all-wheel drive Jetta with a stick and more horsepower would be cool. Well, they do a not the GTI, the GLI version. That's the sportier version, but it's not all-wheel drive. Oh, I see what you're saying with the R. Right. The Golf R. I thought you meant just like the R design. Okay, yeah, that would be good, but it probably comes down to the production facility. That car's made in Mexico, which has all-wheel drive capability, and the Golf R comes out of Germany. It might just be purely production, but yeah, you're right. But you can get a GLI, which is the sedan version of the GTI. Thoughts? Have you seen the new HRV? So the pictures that you're seeing of the HRV are not, from what I understand, the official, what we're going to get, just so you're aware. Hey, Zach, would Mitsubishi get the Montero Sport? And I saw the new Lancer. Any chance this is coming to Canada? There's absolutely no chance the Lancer's coming. And I don't think the Montero Sport is coming either. Same thing. Saw them when we were in Geneva. Mitsubishi is not going to be bringing in the Lancer again. They've made that perfectly clear. There's Ryan Clark. I was surprised to hear that the VW Group is set to exchange Bugatti off to Rimac so that Porsche can acquire 49% stake. Porsche currently has 15% stake. Any thoughts on this? I don't know all the minutiae of that. The rumor is that Porsche is going to be spun off as a separate stock, the way Ferrari was, from Fiat. So I really don't know anything more than that. Marketplace did a story on Hyundai engine fires, slow to initiate. Okay, so as I did talk about this, that I think that nothing like the lens of a TV camera to make your company laser focused on doing the right thing for your customers. And doing the right thing for your customers is standing behind your product. So that would be my advice to Hyundai and Kia. If you've got outstanding issues with certain cars, get them fixed. That's the way you deal with it. Please, no beer in a can. Before it gets warm, pour it in a cold glass and enjoy. It's in a cold glass. This is glass. This is a bottle. It's not a can. And it's nice and cold. Hey, Zach, why did Lexus not call the new IS500 the ISF? I don't know. That's interesting because I think, as you point out, the F brand is kind of disappearing. The GFS is discontinued. The RCF, the last remaining F model. So I think they're calling it F Sport. I'm not sure why they did that. We should all just be applauding the fact that the car actually exists, right? I think that's fantastic news. Cadillac promised bringing out a new car every 6 months until 2021. Haven't seen one in a while. I'm not sure if you noticed, the Escalade just came out within the last 6 months. So I would say, yeah, they have had a new car. They're going to have the Blackwing cars coming out this summer. So yeah, they've got new product. Last year they came out with the CT5 and the CT4. The year before that they had the XT4. Also that same year they came up with the XT6. So they've got new product. Maybe not the ones you want, but yeah, there is new product. Howie, asking, have you heard when the G70 is going on sale in Canada, and what do this of it? I think that we're just going to have to wait and see. I think, from what I've understood, it is going to be this year, but probably this summer. I'm intrigued with the new Hyundai EV platform, especially the GV60, also the ICE GV70. So what they talked about today is under embargo. I'm not really getting any trade secrets out here, but they have this new platform, this EV platform that Hyundai has developed that is going to be shared throughout the company. And it's going to be interesting to see. One thing I did find out today, that the #1 selling EV company in Canada that isn't Tesla is Hyundai. Hyundai beat out Chevrolet with the Bolt by a few hundred units, and then when you add in the Ioniq pure EV, Hyundai is the #2 selling EV brand in Canada. But Tesla has a long run ahead of it. But that also brings about the point that when you get these legacy car companies putting their mind to electric, and as I mentioned, if you missed it earlier, the Ioniq 5 is going to be announced overnight. So when you wake up in the morning, there'll be all kinds of stories about that new EV model. Is just the beginning of what they're doing. The ID4 is just the beginning of what Volkswagen is doing. The new Bolt is just the beginning of what General Motors is doing. And I think it's quite interesting. And I talked about this last week, is the Bolt coming out and reducing the price by $5,000 in the United States and $7,000 in the Canadian market has shot a cannon across the bow of every other brand that we're bringing a good car with over 400 kilometers of range to the masses at a price that makes it, why wouldn't I buy it instead of maybe a hybrid or a regular sedan like a Civic or a Corolla? If you're not aware, the price of the Bolt has gone down to what is the price now? $38,000 in Canada. And then you add in the $5,000 rebate, that brings it down to $33,000. And depending on where you live in the province of Quebec, it's another $8,000 off that. That's a huge discount. Here in BC, it's another $3,000. So in where I live, that Chevy Bolt is now a $30,000 car. Well, a nicely equipped Toyota Corolla and a nicely equipped Civic could easily get up to $30,000. So now it's really competitive. We're gonna have to wait and see what they do, what everybody else does. Canadian Car YouTube channel. Don't forget Nick's Garage. Never heard of Nick's Garage. I wonder if long-term reliability of these tiny 3-cylinder engines in cars like the new Bronco Sport and other GM vehicles. Well, the 3-cylinder 1-liter has been out for quite a few years now in the Ford Fiesta and Focus. I think they even had it in the Fusion, maybe a slightly bigger version of it. But these engines have been around for a while now. So we'll have to wait and see. But you know what? People said the same thing about 4-cylinder turbos, but we've been living with 4-cylinder turbos for quite a few years now. And yeah, there's some with issues, but a lot of them are very reliable. Okay, here's a question. Which one is better, the 1.5-liter 3-cylinder or the 2-liter 4? Okay, I will be honest with you. I haven't driven the 1.5-liter 3-cylinder because every time they have a press vehicle for me to drive, they say, hey, take the EcoBoost with the 2-liter, which is fantastic. I mean, that's the engine that debuted in the Range Rover Evoque. Remember when the Evoque came out? That was the same 2-liter EcoBoost engine that you now have available in the Bronco Sport and the Ford Escape. It's a great engine, lots of power, lots of torque, and with that transmission, it does a really, really good job. So I have to tell you, I'm a little bit on my back foot with that one because I haven't driven it with the 1.5, and I really want to get my hands on it. Oh, Benjamin's back saying, of course it's a manual WRX-Zach. So if you missed it earlier, Ben traded in his CX-30 and got a WRX manual. Attaboy. Go have some fun. Get some winter tires on that. Rip it up. What do you think about the 2020 VW Golf not coming to Canada? And what do you think about the 2020 GTI and R compared to the previous gen? Okay, so I have driven the new Golf. This was just over a year ago in, where were we? Portugal. And Porto in Portugal. And I had a chance to drive it. So you can go onto the channel and watch the review I did of the regular Golf. It drives very similarly to the existing car. The platform hasn't really changed, and the engine that I drove was similar to what we get in North America. So I would suggest that driving dynamics of the base model car, to me, felt like the existing Golf. I have not driven the GTI or the Golf R. A lot of people don't like the design of the inside of it. They're kind of warming to the outside of it. But typically, when Volkswagen brings out a new GTI or Golf R, it's typically a better car. I expect it to be a better car. And somebody actually wrote something last week about the fact that the GTI is already on discount in Europe. I looked into that after the fact. I really hate when people type things and make statements that are just not true. The GTI is not on discount already. The GTI actually had a production delay because of COVID. People have been waiting 6 months to get their GTI. So it's actually the opposite of that. So misinformation there. So I think it'll probably be a better car to drive. It's going to have more power, but a lot of people don't like the interior, especially the lack of switches and the slightly cheap and cheerful interior. Max power is limited. I just placed an order for a RAV4 Prime, 6-month wait though. Well, if you're getting it in 6 months, that's pretty quick. I'm hearing wait times even longer than that. 6 months goes by pretty quickly. You'll be okay. One thing I would suggest is work with the dealer, and if you're going to get a RAV4 Prime and you're going to wait 6 months, see if you can get it as a 2022 model. So if it's coming in the fall, so 6 months from now would be what? That would be August, right? So maybe it might be worth waiting another month to getting a 22 version. Not a 2021. You understand what I'm saying? So if you're going to order one, you might want to order one that is the next model year. Just extra insurance in your bank account when it comes to if you want to sell it. It's not a year older. Back with you live, subscriber SIP. What do you expect from Lexus next couple of years, knowing everything seems lackluster? I brought this up. It's funny. I talked to Andrea about this morning about the IS500 coming out with the V8 engine. And it's because I said this is really sort of juxtapositioned against this whole we're going green, everything's plugging in, and we're all going to be electrified and blah, blah, isn't the world great? Meanwhile, hey, here's a V8 powered sports sedan, which I applaud. I'm all down with V8 powered sports sedans. But I think this is a placeholder car. This is a final hurrah for a few years. I really do believe in my gut. I have no inside intel on this. This is just pure speculation for me. The warmed over Lexus IS with carried over engines and just a mild refresh. They did a good job on the suspension, I will say. And then bringing back the F with the V8 engine is like, well, this is a placeholder car for the next few years until they come with something brand new. And when they do come with something brand new, I'm sure it'll be future technology. It'll have some hybridization, all that kind of stuff. I think this is just, we're going to update the IS, keep it going for a few more years until they come up with what they're really planning on doing. A lot of speculation. It's going to be a joint platform with Mazda with an inline 6-cylinder engine. Think of an engine to replace the BMW engine in the Supra, something along those lines. All speculation. Hey, Zach, what do you think of the best pre-owned 1718 luxury car under $50,000? Well, you need to give me some ideas of what you're thinking about. Like, what is luxury to you? Is it an Acura TLX? Is it an Audi A4? Is it a 5 Series BMW? Give me is it an SUV? Is it a car? So please, a little more information. Hey, Zach, been looking at a Land Cruiser based GX 460. The platform has remained unchanged for, Land Cruiser based GX 470. The platform has remained unchanged for 12 years. A bit of a correction there. The GX is not a Land Cruiser based platform. It is a 4Runner based platform. Okay? The LX is the Land Cruiser based platform. The GX is a 4Runner. Okay? So they're not exactly the same. It's been a long time since I've driven a GX. What I do remember of the GX was I found the suspension, for me, was far too soft, and the vehicle felt kind of like it was teetering on its suspension, kind of top heavy. But it is, now, correct me if I'm wrong, but from the way I remember it, the LX is the Land Cruiser based, and the GX is the 4Runner based. Listen. These are old vehicles. It's quite interesting how Toyota is rewarded with such loyalty and such great resale value and just almost like a cult-like following because their vehicles last and they don't depreciate like everything else. But they let a lot of their vehicles rest in the marketplace for a long, long time. Look at a Toyota Sequoia. That thing's ancient. Look at the Tundra. That is old. Look at the LX and the GX. Look at the IS. Even look at the NX. I mean, these things are all really aging in place, but Toyota still sells a lot of products and Lexus products, and they're rewarded with great resale value and a lot of loyalty. So who's right in this? Are we right or are they right? The resale value is still very, I think people are talking back and forth there. We're hearing such good things on the 2020 Tucson hybrid. More cargo now too, so it can probably beat out RAV4 and CRV hybrids. So this was part of this call that I was on today with Hyundai, is that there's going to be a lot more hybrids, variants of their cars, and plug-in hybrid variants of their cars. So the Tucson is a vehicle that is going to be very interesting to watch. I think it's going to sell incredibly well because they made the Tucson bigger, okay? It's quite edgy looking. There's a short video on it on the channel when they revealed it. It's coming in the summer. So yeah, when you get all of these different variants that they have available, I think Hyundai is gunning for, top 3 position in Canada. So right now you've got the domestic brands 1, 2, and 3. Then you've got Toyota, and then you've got Hyundai. They're like always the perennial, 5th man in. They could move up quite a bit. I don't think they're going to pass Toyota, but it's going to be interesting to watch. Hey Zach, what are the difference in driving dynamics between Impreza, Civic, Corolla, Sentra, Jetta, Mazda 3, and Elantra? Oh my God, from Lima, Peru. Ricardo, that's a lot of info. Okay, so let's break this down. Impreza, Sentra, Corolla, Elantra all use continuously variable transmissions, okay? And then you've got Mazda 3 and the Jetta have regular automatic transmissions. The Mazda 3 is a 6-speed, the Jetta has an 8-speed. And then you break it down into which vehicles have independent rear suspension. So you have Impreza, Civic, Corolla, Sentra, Mazda 3, the Jetta and the Elantra still use a torsion beam rear suspension. So I would suggest that the Civic, the Sentra, the Mazda 3 would be probably my choices for the driver's cars. And the others would be just good commuter cars. That's my impression from my seat of the pants driving. They're all very, very close. That's a very competitive segment. What should I do with my Jeep Cherokee? I bought it recently and I'm not happy with it. Well, the problem is when you buy a vehicle and you want to get rid of it right away, you're just handcuffed to it because it depreciates so much. So what I would do is I would work with a dealer and see if you can move into something else. It might not be now. It might be a year or a year and a half from now. So you have to wait for, the market to even out and the payments that you've made on it. So that's what I would do if you really dislike it that much. What do you recommend for a Jeep Rubicon 4-cylinder V6 or 3-liter diesel? I've only driven 2 of them. I've only driven the V6 and the 3-liter diesel. I love the diesel, especially torque for low-speed crawling situations. I haven't driven the 4-cylinder. They never give us one. I don't know why. I have heard, though, that a lot of the off-roaders like it. I don't really know why, but apparently the 4-cylinder is pretty good. What I would suggest you do is go to a Jeep web forum. There's going to be lots of information there from people who have each one of those. Personally, I think the diesel's great, but it's just way too expensive. If I could afford it, I would buy the diesel, but that's just me. I'm a diesel fan. This is Jim saying, sorry, they're talking to each other. Dark Knight says, V6, bro, diesel sucks. See, there you go. That's what makes the world go round. I love diesels. Dark Knight does not. Hey, Zach, I want to buy a used car or new. It will depend. I'm wondering about the power. I don't want a sluggish car. I'm thinking about a Kia Soul 2020. What do you think? Budget is $20,000. Thanks. Okay, so the 2020 Soul has the continuously variable transmission. The older Soul had a 6-speed automatic. So if you're buying new, maybe you might want to look at getting a used Soul that has that transmission. Is going to make it feel pretty good. And the Soul has incredible resale value and scores incredibly well with dependability. So it's actually a very good choice. That's a very good vehicle. I'm a big fan of the Kia Soul, but if you can't afford the 2020, maybe look for the older one that doesn't have the continuously variable transmission. Might make it a little bit more lively for you to drive. Any sale date on the redesign of the 2020 Lexus NX? The only information I have on this, so I asked Toyota Canada about it, and all they said was, we can confirm that the production of the NX is coming to Canada and is going to be on the Cambridge production facility built alongside the RAV4. That has been confirmed. But I did get some intel from somebody that works in the factory. Nate, if you're listening, you can chime in because he works there. That the retooling for the new line to accommodate the NX is going to be happening in May, June. Okay, so that would mean a summer release or maybe a fall release for the NX. What's your personal preference for leather, synthetic leather, or cloth seats? Andrea's preference. Andrea likes the Alcantara seats, the faux suede. I'm not fussy in any direction. I don't really care that much. Our Honda Civic has cloth seats. They're great. They've got bum warmers, even better. My Toyota Tacoma has cloth seats. That's fine. Our Cayenne has leather seats. They're the pin perforated ones, which I don't like because I hate ventilated seats, and I would rather not have all the little holes. Stuff gets in them. It's just a pain in the ass to keep clean. I'm a big fan of pleather seats. Some brands do pleather better than others. I think Toyota's pleather is pretty good. The Volkswagen pleather is very good. The thing about pleather versus real leather is 10 years from now, that pleather seat will look like it's brand new, where leather can fade and crack and you can get wear. So that's a positive for pleather. Some pleather is better than others. I'm not really that fussy. If it depends on your price and your budget, and if you could only get cloth seats, I think cloth seats are great. They're warm in the winter, they're cool in the summer. There's nothing wrong with cloth. Hello from the 6. Zach, I'm counting horses and dollars between the Volkswagen Tiguan and the sister Q3. What do you say about the Tiguan? P.S. I do have some emotions as yours with the badge, with the, oh, I do have some emotions as yours with the badge appeal. Okay. The Q3 is the short wheelbase Tiguan that we don't get in North America, turned into an Audi. The Tiguan is only available with one engine, and some people complain it's not powerful enough. So if you want a more powerful Tiguan, buy a Q3. If you want a shorter wheelbase version of a Tiguan, buy a Q3. Newsflash, I'm not sure if you've been on the site. After we did our video on the Q3, Audi introduced a less powerful engine in the Q3 at a lower price point. The price is now around $37,000 for a Q3. So you can get the Q3 with the Tiguan engine as a base model. This is something that's only come to light in the last month or so. So that's a lot of car for the money. You get the same warranty. It's 4 years for Volkswagen, 4 years for Audi. So if you're a bit of a badge snob, maybe just consider it, the lower horsepower Audi Q3, which is the shorter wheelbase Tiguan. So you get the best of all three worlds. Make sense? Listen, we did that Q3 video, and I can't tell you how many emails and comments I've been getting that after they watch it, they're like, I never thought I could afford that car. I'm like, so many people have bought it after we did the video. So that's good. I like the product. Oh, yeah, Steam Willie. What is the email to sale car pics? I keep forgetting to do this. If you want to send a picture through, send it to zack@motormouth.ca. ZACK@motormouth.ca or ZACK@motormouth.ca, and get your pictures through. Are the Toyota Prius Prime any good? 4K off in the States. It is the cheapest sort of gateway drug for plug. If you want a car with a plug, the Prius Prime is the cheapest way to get a plug in your car. Now, the upside to that is, depending on where you live, you get access to things like the HOV lane. You get special parking, all those sorts of things. It is not the most electrifying car to drive, but it's a Prius. It's going to deliver the mail all day, every day. It's a bulletproof car. They do a great job. It is nothing exciting, but it's a Toyota Prius. It just has the ability to go on electric power a little bit farther. Nothing exciting, but a well-made product and the cheapest gateway drug if you want to have a plug with your car. Debating between the Rogue and the Forester. Well, this is an interesting conversation that seems to have come up in the last little while. The Rogue, by the way, just won its class for the Automobile Journalists Association of Canada's Best Utility. So congratulations to Nissan for winning that. It was also a finalist for the, I believe, was it a finalist for the North American SUV of the Year? Regardless, it's a great product. It did a great job. I chose it as one of my top vehicles of last year. So isn't it interesting to see a car company that everybody was crapping on, which was Nissan a year ago, now they've got these new products and everybody's like, oh, it's in the mix. Listen, they're both roughly the same size. They both have 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engines. They both have CVTs. Go and drive them and pick the one you like. It could be argued that they have a better all-wheel drive system in the Subaru, but does that really matter to you? Put on good winter tires on a Rogue, you're going to get pretty much anywhere you want. Another super chat. Love your show. Comment on TLX Type S and MDX Type S pricing. Pricing has not been announced yet. Or I haven't seen it anyway. It's going to be interesting to watch what they do with it, but I haven't heard anything about the pricing. So, by the way, not next week. Is it next week? What's the date today? Yeah, next week. We get the MDX. The MDX. I'll get my hands on it. Looking forward to it. Because as much as you might not think anything of the MDX is the best selling 3-row mid-size utility, period. I mean, the thing has just been a home run ever since they introduced it 20 years ago. It was the very first mid-size utility to come standard with 3 rows of seats. They have now hopefully perfected it, improved the interior, which is what it needed. It's supposed to drive better, so I can't wait to get my hands on it. So there will be a Type S version of it. When we get the pricing on it, we'll have to wait and see. They said summer of this year. You know, all good things to come to those who wait. Where was I? Your son should do 5-minute once a week. I would watch, and I do not do sports. Well, Jim, he just did a couple minutes on sports. You want him to have a whole 5 minutes? Hey, Jack. Someone wants you to do 5 minutes on sports. Okay, we'll talk later. He said I can't hear you. Would you recommend a Qashqai for a family? I like the Qashqai a lot.
Here, what is it?
So someone wants you to do 5 minutes on sports each week. So you got to write a sportscast.
5 minutes?
5 minutes.
Jeez.
I think we start with 2.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, get a little sportscast.
Right now it's at about 15 seconds.
No, it's longer than 15 seconds. Come on, don't be like that. Would you recommend a Qashqai for a family? Yes, I think the Qashqai is a great product because it's just that much bigger than a lot of its competition. Try it out, see what you think about it, but I think it's an excellent product. I think they did a very good job with it. Yasmin, my little sister wants to buy a Chevy Equinox. She found an 18 Equinox LT today with 13,000 miles. She wants to know how reliable they are. Well, here's the thing. A lot of people crap on General Motors. And it's interesting because there was an article that came through that I sent to Andrea because she's really getting into all of the research about the J.D. Power's dependability study. Okay, and this is vehicles that are 3 years old, which is perfect because it's exactly where you are with the Chevy Equinox. And then I went on the J.D. Power site and I started looking at the winners in all the different categories. I encourage you to do this when we're done. Type into your computer J.D. Power Dependability Study and go and look when you get on their website at the winners in all of the different categories. You know what is overrepresented in these studies? General Motors products. And one of them, year after year, is the Chevy Equinox. Now, I'm not sure if it won this year, but it has won many, many times. The Chevy Equinox is one of the highest rated vehicles by J.D. Power when it comes to dependability. I am telling you that. I've been saying that for years. It is a very good product, and I have no problem recommending the Equinox. I think they do a very good job, and it's often overlooked. Another one I'm going to mention, because I forgot it last week. Somebody asked me, what's a car that a lot of people overlook, and they shouldn't? The new Ford Escape. The new Ford Escape, they did a fantastic job with it. Nothing fancy, but it does a really good job for what it's intended to do. So I have no problem recommending the Equinox. She's probably going to like it. And you know what? That's not very many miles for a vehicle that is 3 years old. So go check it out. Make sure you get it inspected by a mechanic before you buy it. Please do that. But I think she'll be happy with it. Yeah, I saw this headline, but I didn't dig too far into it. What do you think about the crash results for the Sentra and the Rogue? They're only giving 2-star rating for side impact. So, yeah, like I said, all I did was I read the headline. I didn't dig into it too far. But, yeah, that is a worry, and that's not good, especially for a brand new vehicle. So, yeah, that's something we're going to have to keep an eye on. Would you say an Outlander is a good alternative to a RAV4 or a CRV? There's a lot of people don't like the Outlander. I'm one of those people. I think it's actually a pretty good product. Every time I drive an Outlander, I'm more impressed with it than I'm disappointed with it. I think they do a pretty good job. So the one thing that's nice about the Outlander is that you're always going to find a deal on one. So if it's all about budget and you just want to get the most vehicle you can for your money, the Outlander does offer a lot. It comes with a lot of stuff, including a 3rd row of seats as standard equipment on a brand new one. So if you're looking for one that's a couple of years old, it's available with a 4-cylinder, it's available with a 6-cylinder, and it comes with a CVT. So, you know what? If it's all about budget, it's a good sized vehicle. Every time I drive one, I'm pleasantly surprised by it. So that's another vehicle that often gets overlooked. All right. We are up against the clock. I want to say thanks to everybody. If I didn't get to your question, I do read them all, not to worry about that. And I'll be back next Monday. Car Cost Canada, sign up using the promo code MotorMouth, become an expert member. Tomorrow, the RAV4 Venza comparison video drops. Friday, this beautiful 911 Turbo manual, that drops on the channel. And then on Saturday, it's the Bronco Sport. Lots of content here on MotorMouth. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the interwebs. Take care, everyone.